Hey world, welcome back and welcome to the Recovered Files with your one and only host, Mikenzie Taylor. You already know what it is. If you are listening, surprise, we're visual. Officially on the YouTube platform, so you can finally match that voice to a face. Hey y'all, hey. Big shout out to you all, and I cannot wait to catch you all over on the next episode of the Recovered Files. Oh my gosh. We are in season 2. Season 2 of the Recovered Files. I am back, I am better, and I am so excited to get into all of the things that you can not only expect today in this file, but also a little teaser of what's to come in this entire new season. So, if you are new here, the Recovered Files is a audio journal. It was birthed from this beauty right here. As you can see, she is all written inside of. She is worn in. She's possibly on her deathbed and might have to move on to a new journal and a new era. But I definitely wanted to show up today in style. I wanted to match with my sequins and make sure that I am shining and glittering like the star I am. So there you have it. But with this being an audio journal, it has come from the reflections that I have had in this journal specifically. This journal I have had since season 1. So it definitely has lots of years of epiphanies, reflections, things about myself, things about other people, the world around me. And it came from a place of wanting to take all of my thoughts off of paper and put them into conversation, to share within community, to find like-minded people who want to talk about the quiet parts out loud, who want to kind of share in their vulnerabilities, and then also have a key, have a laugh, because life is not that serious at the same time as well. So I'm so glad to welcome you all into this community. Spoiler alert, you're going to love it here, but trust me, there's no shame in that. So what I can say before we get into all the things of season 2, of course, it goes without saying that I have to give the flowers to not only myself, but parts of season 1 as well too. So the Recovered Files was created in 2020 during the pandemic, where 19-year-old Mikenzie just felt like, oh my gosh, I have something to say. And I come from a background in entertainment. I absolutely have always loved storytelling, but for so long when I was telling stories, it always came from a character's point of view, and it always came from a different lens. And I had to realize that, you know what, like as my own vessel and as my own person, I have a lot of these stories and unique experiences, but also these shared experiences that I want to give life to and I want to give voice to, and kind of open that up for discussion and conversation, because why not? And looking back, I realized just how courageous and how bold and unapologetic I was to really take something as sacred as a journal that is very private and go out of my way to figure out how to make a podcast. Like when I tell you all it was from scratch, I mean, everything was just trial and error and figuring it out along the way. And if you go back and you actually listen to season 1, trust me, file 1 to file 10 is like an immense stark difference from how I sounded, how I recorded, my filler words, how it was edited. I mean, all of the things. And my creators out there know that, like, sometimes when you're looking back at old work, it can be cringy, but also you have to be so proud of yourself because you're like, oh, she was so brave. She was so brave. She was so courageous. And honestly, my 19-year-old self set the foundation and set the groundwork for the Recovered Files to blossom into something that is totally bigger than me. And that was always the goal and always the intention. I created it because I wanted it in my wildest dreams to be a season 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, until it grew into this whole thing that was absolutely completely bigger than me. And so the fact that I am finally here now, even though I am 5 years removed, no worries, we'll get into that. But to be in this space now, to show up, to introduce you all to season 2 of the Recovered Files, man, it could not have been done without season 1 and all the guts it took to create a season 1. So I know I give my shout outs to all of you all, but I also just want to give a shout out to baby me and put those flowers out there. So for new listeners and also for my OG listeners, I may have a little throwback for you because I am going to suggest 3 probably main files that can give you a synopsis of the feel of season 1, what the Recovered Files, like what type of podcast this is. And starting off, I want to go with file 2, which is avoidance. It was a really great file, especially for it to be so early on in the podcast series. Also, let's just be real. To be 5 years removed, a little bit of avoidance or a lot of bit of avoidance had to happen. And so to actually be in a place now and look back and realize that I had that as a topic in a file, it's funny, it's ironic, it's all the things, but it's also really very sentimental. And I had some gems in there. So definitely something I can learn from myself. Maybe y'all can pick up a thing or two. My absolute favorite, oh my goodness, would be file 6, You versus You, tried and true. Like I said, we can listen back to our own things and feel cringe. I don't care. Every time I listen to file 6, You versus You, I'm like, you popped it. You popped it, because the gems that I was dropping in that file, I mean, I'll never get tired of listening to that episode. Like other ones I do skip. File 6, I'm listening to it through and through. And it's funny because what's to come for season 2 and the files that I have for y'all, which are there are going to be some topics that kind of build off of the foundation and the principles of file 6, You versus You, because that is an ongoing, never-ending file. Anyways, last but certainly not least, I have to say file 10, Let's Talk About Everything. That's pretty obvious within the title itself. I mean, it is going to give you a full synopsis of season 1 out of all the topics that were shared, how I am proud of myself for getting to an end of season 1 and looking back and like also cringing at myself for file 1 and all of those things. But it truly does set the foundation for what season 2 was imagined to be and actually what season 2 is. So that is what I can say. If you want to go back and check those out, it was just on audio. So it's wherever you stream your music or your podcast. And if you do end up going back and checking those out, let me know the feedback. You can drop it down in the comments, or you can always follow the conversation at the Recovered Files on Instagram. And I would love to hear some feedback on that if you go back and listen. So hey, just be gentle. She was 19 years old, okay? But without further being said, this is file 11. It's called The Hiatus. 5 years removed from when the Recovered Files originally debuted. And what can I say? Can't say I wasn't mysterious. You know? Like left some room to the imagination. But I mean, so much has happened. I mean, throughout that time, like after the pandemic had ended, I ended up going back to school. I graduated, so your girl is degreed. Yes, ma'am. After I graduated, I definitely ended up moving cities, coming back home, trying to rebuild my foundation. And along all of that journey, I mean, so much has happened. I gained really good friendships. I lost out on some friendships that I thought I would still have. I found love again. Even within myself, I lost a little bit of spark because I was a little bit confused and just dealing with maybe like confusion or self-doubt or where I kind of wanted to channel my priorities and my interests. But I can say now, all glory to God, I am in such a good space. I am feeling confident. I am feeling unapologetic. I am feeling like season 2 is really going to be the tip of the iceberg for all things creative when it comes to Mikenzie Taylor. So if you are here along for this journey, go ahead and strap in, because you all are in for a ride, and I'm excited. So let's just go ahead and get into it, okay? I want to transition that into saying, like, what a beautiful day it is to be today. You guys, seriously, like, today is the day that I decided to show up. Nerves and all, you know, this has been a minute since I put myself in this type of situation, especially being vulnerable like this in front of the camera. So I know you can probably already hear, you know, a little bit stutter on my words, but I don't even care about all of that. I'm just worried about giving it all authentically, presenting myself, having fun with it, not taking myself too seriously, and to finally be back in this space. I mean, speechless. But I do want to encourage, like, anyone who is listening right now and tuning in, if you are relating to being in a space in your life where you are in a hiatus or possibly coming out of a hiatus, whether that be personally, whether that be career-wise, whether that be in relationship, whatever the case may be, I do just want to encourage and just send out positivity, and also send out that I am rooting for you, okay? And however much time that you need to take to yourself to kind of reboot and recharge yourself, take it. And don't be worried about what's going on the outside. Don't be worried about, you know, all of the things that you can't control around you. Make sure that you are centering yourself, you are doing the work, so you can get to a place where you can show back up, no matter how long that takes. So I just want to send out that love and send out that encouragement, because I know for me, of course, it was never the intention to be gone for 5 years. And with that being the timeline, I had every reason to kind of trick myself out of my spot and be like, okay, 5 years removed, that's crazy. If you had any listeners, if you had any momentum, if you had any foundations from season 1, I mean, it's probably lost, you know? So, you know, if you want to end it on that was a one-all be-all thing, you can leave that, and, you know, it'll still be okay. Just move on to the next venture. But really taking time and being with myself, I was like, ain't no way, Mikenzie, because coming back to myself and realizing, what was the purpose that you even created this for anyway? Like I said, it was to take it further, bigger and better, to follow me, to journey with me throughout all of my 20s, throughout every era of my life. And I owed it to myself to come back, to show up in a way that I knew that I could be better, that I knew I could contribute, like, real time and real commitment to it, and not just kind of throw something together for the sake of it, but actually give it my time and my energy and my best foot forward. And I'm just so grateful that I didn't let anything else trick me out my spot, and I didn't let myself trick me out my spot, because there were times where I would kind of get the best of me. And how I will relate that, I'll use it for an example, right? You all were there. I know you all were there. It was around 2022, 2023. Y'all know trends come and go, but everybody and their mama had a podcast, okay? Everybody and their mother's mother had a podcast, to the point where people were like, ban men with mics. It's getting out of hand. And during that time, like, I was definitely that person where I'm like, oh my gosh, you're missing your mark. You are missing your mark, because it's not like during the trends, people were like, oh my gosh, let's start a podcast. And people were starting from ground zero. And I was at the point where I was like, you already have your foundation. You already have your ground zero. So this is the time for you to build on that momentum, get your discipline, get your consistency, and you can really take this to the next level just based off of being in the right place at the right time, taking advantage of this opportunity. And because different things, and that's just not where my life had placed me at the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I just missed out on that opportunity. I just kind of let it go past me. And, you know, now that we're in 2025, the trend is over. I mean, there are still people who have stuck with and are going strong with their podcast, but the world has kind of moved on. Now it's streaming. Now it's, you know, possibly being on Twitch and people taking advantage of those trends. And as they should, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be a window of opportunity that can also help you in the pursuit of whatever you are doing. And because I felt at the time that I didn't come back to my podcast during that moment, or even shortly after season 1 ended, because in my mind, it really shouldn't have been more than 1 year removed where I should have already put out a season 2. It's no point of going through my head and being like shoulda, coulda, woulda, because that's just not what happened. That just wasn't in my cards. That's fine. That's okay. But it got to a point where I was really trying to be like, you know, well, maybe this isn't that. Maybe, you know, I know you had ambitions and I know you had visions for what you wanted it to be, but maybe that's just not meant to happen. Wrong. It just wasn't the right time for me to do it. And so for me to get to a place within myself, like I said, of being unapologetic, being courageous, tapping into that 19-year-old self of me who was so brave. And so like, who cares if you don't do it right? Who cares if you do it messy or if you don't get it right the first time? If you put it out there, it's out there and you can learn as you go. And when I finally reconnected with that part of myself, I was like, you know what? When I show up, I am going to show up. And all God be the glory, because today is the day that I showed up. Clock it. So I'm immensely proud of myself and just giving you all a hint and a taste of what's been going on, but also what you can expect. I mean, within those 5 years of me being gone, I can say that it was not in vain. There was so many things that I discovered and I learned, and I don't want to give too much away because as you continue to go on this journey with me and we go throughout the files of season 2, the topics are heavy hitters, you all. Like, we are going to be having a key. Like, we are going to be laughing, but trust, if you need to get something off your chest, if you just like, I need to pour me a glass of wine, I need to, you know, I just need to talk about something real, something with substance, something that's going to hit me so I can feel something. You are in the right place. You are watching the right podcast. And I am so excited to have you here on this journey. So that's what it is. So like I said, if I can encourage anyone who is in their hiatus season, take the time that you need, but please don't forget to show back up and to show up for yourself, to reconnect with what is your purpose, what is your why, and not be kind of distracted by the smoke and the mirrors of society or outside opinions or whatever the case may be, to kind of discourage you from coming back to something that you truly value and something that you truly love. So that's just to give a little bit of insight into what the hiatus has been, what's contributed to it. And now that we are officially outside of it, I can guarantee that I am in a place mentally, emotionally, physically, where I am feeling like all gas, no brakes. So I know I was in my mysterious era for a while, but now you are probably about to know way more about me that you didn't know before. But hey, I welcome it. So like I said, if y'all want to drop some love in the comments just about what are you all expecting, like, do we have any predictions for season 2 or the topics that we think is going to come to light? Go ahead, don't be shy, let me know. Don't forget to follow the conversation afterwards at the Instagram at The Recovered Files. And I cannot wait to catch you all over on the next episode of The Recovered Files. All right. Love y'all. Mwah. Peace. Covered Files was created with, oh my god. Hey, I'm sick, bro. Okay.